Now, as soon as you load in the game, you're going to be in the headquarters. So feel free to explore this whole area. If you go outside, you can actually see downtown LA. It's pretty cool, or sorry, Los Sueños, but it's definitely worth spending some time to explore the whole headquarters and the outside because the developers really did a great job making this feel real and immersive. But for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and go over the two most important things relevant to playing the actual game. The first and most important one is over here, and that's the shooting range. Now, over here on the shooting range is where you're going to be able to try different guns, edit your loadout, edit your team's loadout, and there's also an area over here where you can actually practice with the guns. So first, right here on this window, you can interact with this table, and that's how you can modify your loadout. So if we go into this area, we can see our primary, secondary, our tactical, our armor, our ammo, our headwear, even how we're dressed. There's all sorts of different things that we can customize here, and we'll go over that in a little bit, but just know that that's this area here, and that's also where you're going to edit the loadout and the look of your AI teammates. Now, backing out of that menu, if we just go right back over here to the shooting range, if you actually want to practice with the gun that you're using or maybe a new setup, just simply walk up to one of the shooting range bays, use this right here to extend the target, and now you have full access to shoot, practice, reload, do whatever you want. All right, let's make another U-turn and head back to the very front where we actually loaded into the game. And right back over here is the briefing room. This is the second most important part of this game because this is where you're actually going to be able to select and start a mission. Once you go inside, you want to come over here to this table right here by this map and interact with the table. And you're going to see a handful of maps that you can play. In my opinion, the first level here, the gas station map, is the easiest. And as you work your way through the game, the levels become harder, the enemies are smarter, the maps are bigger and more complicated, there's more objectives. So definitely try and play this game in order. Now, if you also have any of the DLC, which personally I recommend beating the game first before buying the DLC. If you do have the DLC, it's going to be right here at the top, and you can just select through which part of the game you want to play. Let's say you're ready to play the first mission. Go ahead and click on it, click select mission, and you're not actually going to load into the mission. You're going to have the option to ready up or view the briefing. In most games, we probably would just ready up and get right to the point. However, in this game, it's actually relevant and worth your time to look at the briefing. So we're going to hold tab, look at the briefing. You can listen to that guy's spiel if you want. But what's most important here is getting a quick overview of all your objectives. So on this level, the gas station, we want to bring order to chaos, which is an objective on every level in this game. And that basically means you arrested or neutralized any enemies or suspects or contacts on the level, basically anyone with a gun. We also want to rescue all the civilians. Now, this is an objective on most, but not all of the missions in this game, and that essentially is detain any unarmed civilians or contacts at the scene. If any civilians die at any point, whether you shoot them, your teammates shoot them, or the suspect shoot them, you will fail this objective. Next, we have two objectives that are unique to this mission. In this case, we want to find Crystal Layton, and we want to find the store manager, locate the civilian responsible for the initial call. This mission brief, while it is long to read, it's worth reading because, for example, if you look down here at the bottom, it literally says it's unlikely the suspects are wearing armor. They are armed and have demonstrated their intent to cause harm. We do know at least one of the suspects is carrying a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. So right there alone, when it comes to editing our loadout, which you probably will change for every single level you play, you might not need to bring heavy armor or armor-piercing rounds because the suspects don't seem to have armor, and it doesn't look like they're carrying any heavy rifles, just 9mm pistols. So you might be fine bringing light armor and maybe a submachine gun. It's totally up to you what you decide to bring on your loadout, but the information in the mission briefing might make it easier or give you a kind of a hint of what to bring with you. Now up top here, we have the civilians tab, and we can see the name and a picture of the civilians we may be on the lookout for while we're playing this level. Same with the suspect tabs. We get an idea of the way the suspects are going to look, their height, their weight, their build. Sometimes this can be really helpful, especially in dark areas, or if you just can't recognize who you come across on the level. You might have an idea that, okay, one of these suspects is 6 foot 180 and he looks like he's probably wearing a black hoodie. All right, we know that's probably not a civilian, so we got to be extra careful around that. And now finishing off the briefing section, we have a media tab and an audio tab. This is just to get a little more story storyline and a little more immersion if you care about that. Most notably though, down here is a map, and this is actually very helpful. Now, every map is going to be different depending on the mission itself. In this case, we have a blueprint of the gas station, and this just gives you a really good overview of the 1 side, the 2 side, 3 side, and 4 side, which, especially if you're playing with teammates or with friends, you guys can have a little bit more organization and coordination depending on, let's say, maybe you're going to go through the front here to the sales floor, and one of your friends is going to go here on the 2 side through the, looks like the bathroom, the back area here, and maybe you have one of your other friends come in on the 4 side through the freezer room, and we can see that leads to the sales floor. So maybe you guys are all going to go in at the same time, and your friend on the 2 side is going to flash in here and then come in right and clear this side here while you come straight up the middle and your friend comes around this way. I don't know, whatever you want to do. There's so many ways to plan out your missions, but taking a look at the map is not only a really good way to do that, it's also a good way to familiarize yourself with the kind of areas you're going to be seeing on the actual level. So again, you have this big wide open sales floor here, and as you make your way through, it looks like to the kitchen, office, and break room, there's going to be some tight corners and a lot of doors and walkways and open areas. So maybe you need a few more flashbangs, a little more coordination, or maybe even a shield. So take a look at the map, just know that lives here, and it'll give you a lot of good information before you head into the actual level. It's also really good just in case you get lost. And most importantly, all the information we just looked at is in your actual tablet, and you can bring this up at any point during the mission. In my case, I press tab to lower it or hold it to open it, but you can always refer back to this to check your objectives, civilians, suspects, or your map at any point during your mission.